Lansing, Colorado, Friends of Liberty. It's great to meet you all. My wife Carol and granddaughter Lisa. It's really great to be here and hear the enthusiasm, a nice introduction. And I love coming to the college campuses because for some reason we get very good receptions on college campuses. But it is an important moment in our history of what's going on because there are great significant changes. In other words, I believe we're in a transition now from an economic system that was deeply flawed. We lived on borrowed money and borrowed time and printing press money and a pretense that we could do it forever. And about 4 years ago, it was discovered it was unsustainable. And now we have to face up to the truth, admit the truth, that once a country has lived way beyond its means, it's forced to live beneath its means. And now we have to make a decision on how to do that. And fortunately, it's not all that painful if we do the right things. All we have to do is return to our constitutional government, and believe me, we can get out of this mess in a very short period of time. We would have to ask one basic question that the founders asked when they were pretty upset with the king. They didn't like the role of government, they didn't like the role of the king, and they did something about it. They knew exactly what they believed in. They understood the classics. They understood up in that period of time what the history of liberty was all about. And they decided they didn't want to live under the king. And there was a revolution. They wrote a document that was up until that time. And, the best. It's still a great document. The tragedy is we don't follow it. On top of it, the Soviets had this empire, but they went one major step too far. They were so foolish as to invade and occupy Afghanistan. And that is what brought them down. You'd think we'd learn a lesson. So here we are, bogged down. At the same time, we're pretending the war ended in Iraq. It didn't end. Today they're negotiating for sending more troops back into Iraq because it's not going well. I mean, we have a presence around the world. Nobody even knows. They asked about that the other day. How many countries are you in? He didn't want to have to stop and think, I don't know how many countries we're in. Well, the number is probably about 130. We probably have 900 bases around the world, and we are bankrupted. We can't afford it. We need to cut across the board. But I think the easiest place in the world for us to bring coalitions together is cut the needless, senseless wars and the presence we have around the world and just to mind our own business for once. After 9/11, and understandably, we were all very, very concerned, and we should have reassessed our foreign policy and done a lot of other things. But the very first thing they did, the first bill passed after 9/11 was passed a bill that had been floating around for years, and they couldn't get it passed because the environment wasn't right. As soon as the post-9/11 environment occurred, they brought it back out, and they passed that terrible bill called the Patriot Act. Should never have been passed. So I think if we truly want our liberties back, we should start by repealing the Patriot Act. Our history, a lot of well-motivated individuals discovered that alcohol could be dangerous. And I agree. Alcohol is a very dangerous drug. We're dangerous on the list right now. But the alcohol, there was a consensus. At least can you imagine them going through and amending the Constitution to pursue the drug war now? No, they just do it. But back then, they wanted to prohibit alcohol. They at least respected the Constitution. Well, we have to amend the Constitution. And it turned out to be a total disaster. After 1 decade, they chucked it. They said it isn't worth it. The crime related to alcohol and the sale of alcohol, and there was no decrease in the use of alcohol. So this is the reason that prohibition doesn't work, and we have to take care of these problems in another manner. Drugs are very dangerous, but there's a lot of dangers in this country and in the world. And whose number one responsibility is it? It's the parents to teach their kids what are dangers. We teach them that. once again violate due process of law and the Fourth Amendment. The operations when the police come or the FBI come and these SWAT teams come in, they don't always go into the right houses. Sometimes they go into the wrong houses. Some people get killed over this. But as a physician and somebody involved in politics, I think we should treat the drug problem, which is a serious problem, treat it more like we treat alcoholism.